this is a great honor for every fan of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm honored to be in the NFL.
What can I say? Mamba out.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to your Friday edition of the afternoon show here on the Elite Sports and Entertainment Network. I'll be your host, producer, and not working camera operator, Logan Landers. And joining me is my co-host, co-founder, best beard in the game, Jay McLovin. Jay, what's going on, brother?
Hey, I'm doing good, brother. Yeah, like I told you earlier, I think it's just time you bite the bullet. Just go get your new laptop.
Man, it's so.
I think it's time. I think you are deserving of a new laptop.
I think so too. I gotta start saving the pay. I get paid next week, so I'm gonna start taking some out. You know what I mean? I gotta start saving them out. But it'll come in time. I'll try another fix. I'll buy a webcam from just to see if it works.
Hold on, look. Are you saying you don't want to join the rest of us Americans and just put that crap on credit and go into debt? Or is that what you're telling me?
I try not to, Jay. I'm trying not to.
Me too.
I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to do better. But before we get started, if you guys enjoy the show, like, comment, share, and subscribe. We go live, as you know, every single day, Monday through Friday. Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, anywhere else you can think of. We're all over the place. And we thank you all for tuning in. And, of course, all the subscriptions, all the likes, all the shares especially the past month. We're really doing a great job. We can't do it without all of you, our fans. Well, gentlemen, a lot going on today. We'll just go ahead and start off with the NBA. What's at the kind of forefront of everyone's mind today. We're going to talk about the NBA. We're going to talk about the NHL Stanley Cup, which happened last night. And we're going to talk a little bit about some football action, a little bit of baseball here and there, and just kind of whatever else we can think of. But let's just talk about the NBA. Tonight, it is Game 4. As we know, as you guys have spoken about earlier, the Pacers up 2-1. They got the win on Wednesday, and now they're hoping to go up 3-1 in this game against OKC. And Jay, they're going to be at home still. They're still in Indiana, so they've got the home crowd behind them. Can they go 3-1 against what a lot of people kind of picked as the team to beat this year?
Yeah, you got to imagine, and I know we said this earlier on last time on the afternoon show, that all the pressure was on Indiana, right? To take Game 3. They had never lost back to back. So there was a lot of pressure for that. There was a lot of pressure that if OKC had won back to back, that the momentum, the snowball effect of that would be vastly it would just be crazy going into Game 4 with that kind of momentum. And you got to think at that point, what would the effect of that have been? But obviously, and I told Gonzo this, I said, if you guys come out and you guys play aggressive on offense and you don't go in the hole going into the third quarter where you got to pull a cardiac kid performance to get the game under your W column, then you're going to be fine. I said, and I really think we saw that in Game 3. Game 3, you saw them come out aggressive. You saw them put the pace. You saw them go back and forth with shots. There was no really them getting behind too much, right? They stayed right with them. And then when you saw the fourth quarter come around, where I think it was like 32-18 in favor of the Pacers, you saw that SGA was tired. He was bent over. He looked spent. Oklahoma was just done come the fourth quarter. And the Pacers really took advantage of that. They really were the more better in shape team. And it really showed in that fourth quarter. And I will tell you, in tonight's game, now the pressure is shifting over to OKC. And you got to imagine it's either do or die for them. I think even Stephen A. said it on First Take today. He goes, this is the series. If OKC doesn't get this win and they go 3-1 back to OKC, this series is done. They might pull out a win out in OKC, but the minute they come back to Cambridge Fieldhouse, it's a wrap. It's a wrap, and it's going to go 6. So this game is very, very much dependent on how well the Thunder come out. If they can be the more aggressive team, put Indiana on their heels like they have done in the first 2 games, And then I think we go from there, Logan. But it's going to be a hell of a fight tonight. I really think it's going to be chippy, and I think it's going to be a hell of a fight. What's up, Joe?
Whoever said that this series was going to be boring, man, they were wrong, weren't they?
Oh, absolutely.
Boy, they were dead wrong. I mean, for me, what stood out, Jay, was the bench for Indiana in Game 3. Mathurin was the leading scorer, Jay, I believe 27. That's coming off your bench, and if you're getting that kind of production from not even your starting five, there's a very good chance you can win everything. And also, like I said, Joe, what's going on, man? Hope you're having a good Friday. Hope you have a good weekend. But I was really impressed by that. We know that Indiana is a very good fast break team. We know that they play good defense. Really, both teams play good defense, right? These aren't high scoring games by any means necessary compared to a lot of, finals or other games we've seen throughout the playoffs. These are kind of lower scoring ball games for, the NBA standards of today. But, I mean, you're seeing, the superstars are stepping up when they should. Like you said, SGA had a bit of not a bad performance, but one as good as we're used to seeing from him. In recent times, and you're hoping that if you're the Thunder, you can bounce back tonight, even up the series, and not go down 3-1, because that is it's a very, very steep hole to climb out of. So we'll see what happens tonight. Joe's also saying that he's got the Thunder going tonight because it is a must win. Like I said, it isn't do or die, but it kind of feels like it, right? It feels like if you don't, then it's pretty much over at the end of the day. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, the game's going to be in Indiana later on tonight. I believe at 8 o'clock tip off. So it's gonna be a good game, Jay. I'm looking forward to seeing who's gonna pull out that one. And I think the next game, even if they go up 3-1, I think the next game will be sometime next.
They'll be traveling back to OKC. That's when they do the 1-1-1 thing.
Yeah. Okay. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and that really is important, right? Right now, OKC has kind of lost home field advantage because they're down 2-1, right? So then you got to think, okay, they're down 2-1. They've lost home field advantage. It really is going to be who are the better benches in this case at that point, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think so far we've kind of seen that in a way, and also Tony chiming in saying that Alexander had only 3 points in the fourth quarter, which is definitely unlike him. I mean, obviously he's the MVP, but it's kind of telling because, like you said, Jay, they were a little bit tired. It seemed like, but also just the good quality defense by Indiana and how they were, even if they weren't getting blocks or steals or whatever, they were still affecting shots. They were still up in their faces, and it really contributed to them picking up the win all in all. But I think it's going to be a good matchup tonight. I'm going to be able to watch this one in full, so that's going to be a good one. And we'll see. Like I said, Game 4. Tonight, 8:30 is when it tips off, so that's going to be a fun time, I believe. He says Game 5 is on Monday, so that's going to be, like I said, we'll watch the game tonight, get the weekend to digest it, think about everything, then come back on Monday, do a recap and also a preview of Game 5. But Jay, we'll keep going with some basketball action here, right? We'll keep it in the NBA. And some news came out earlier today that Russell Westbrook has declined the option with the Denver Nuggets. He was going to be paid originally $3.4 million, the player option for the next season. He will now become a free agent on June 30th officially. He's 36. This past season, though, he averaged 13.3 points to go along with a just under 45% shooting, 6.1 assists, and 4.9 rebounds in just about 28 minutes of play. He started in 36 games throughout Denver. So he's, like I said, primarily going to be that sixth man coming off the bench, but he can start, obviously, if you need him to. But Jay, where does he go? He left Denver, Denver's kind of a team that it's hard to gauge them right now, right? Because, yes, they made the playoffs. They had that kind of, not magical run, but they had a good run, better than a lot of people thought. But it's hard to tell if that was just kind of like a half season type of miracle that happened, because we've seen a lot of interim coaches come in, Jay, in any sport, come in for half a season, do really well, but then they come out the next season and they struggle. So is, this current regime, this current coaching staff and everything, is this what Denver's going to roll with? And obviously I think that's a reason as to why Westbrook probably left also. I don't know if it's going to be for money. There might be playing time if he goes maybe to a lesser team. I'm not sure. But I think, there's going to be a lot of options for him out there. Like I said, he is a little bit older. He's not going to be a super high deal for money. Also wouldn't surprise me if he goes to a younger team, right? And he's kind of that veteran presence there, kind of like how Chris Paul's been over the last handful of years in San Antonio. So wouldn't surprise me if he goes that route as well. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Westbrook really he really threw me for a loop on this one. He's got $3.5 million player option. He just turned down. He's leaving a contending team. So it's not like he's leaving a bum team. Like he's in a really good team. He actually had played a lot of minutes in the playoffs. So he was getting playing time. He was getting playing time in the playoffs. He was actually, shooting the ball, I think, almost close to 50% during the playoffs. So he was doing a lot of things the right way. He's 36 years old. I'm not sure what his thought process is for declining the play option to become a free agent. I don't know if he's thinking that, well, maybe I played well enough in the playoffs that I can command more money. Maybe he's trying to get more money out there on the market. I don't really think he's going to. I don't think at 36 years old that he's going to get maybe a higher than what he got in that player option. And if he does get higher, is he going to go to a playoff team or is he going to go to a lesser than team? I don't think, and if he is trying to get a starting role, well, what team right now would give him a starting role that were in the playoffs? They already had their roster for the most part solidified. I don't think they're looking to bring in a 36-year-old Russell Westbrook to take over his starting job. So I don't know what his train of thought is in terms of what he thinks he's going to get that's better than the situation that he left.
It is also worth noting that we haven't brought up yet. He did have hand surgery on his right hand in May. He was playing hurt in the playoffs, but he toughed it out, which credit to him. But he is coming off that hand surgery. I don't think it's going to affect him too much overall. But it's going to be interesting, right? Because obviously he's going to get picked up. I feel he had a good season with Denver overall. Like I said, he had a good playoff run. Also, it's not like he can't hit any shots, anything like that. He did fairly well for himself. Obviously, we know he's not the player he was, 8-9 years ago. Who is? But I think, obviously someone's going to pick him up. I don't know if a contender, like you said, might, unless something happens in free agency where, one of their, a lot of their bench players go elsewhere. It's like, oh, we need to retool. Maybe that might be the only reason I can think of. But,
right.
He's going to have suitors, obviously. For the locker room, it seems like he's well liked by the majority of players and everything. And he's he's kind of like a Jimmy Butler in a sense of he's just a hard worker, you know what I mean? But he can also rub people the wrong way. So you kind of take that with a grain of salt. But he'll get picked up. I don't think his career's done for. He'll pick up and he'll play for at least a little bit long. He's still in good shape too. You know what I mean? He's 36. Right. He's still in very good shape. So he looks like he did 10 years ago.
I think he gets picked up. For me, it's not about whether or not he'll get picked up as a bench player or whatever. For me, is this really the best thing for Russell Westbrook? He's leaving a championship contending team. I don't think he's going to go to a better situation than what he just left, unless the Thunder pick him back up or unless the Pacers pick him back up. God knows the Rockets better not pick him up. I just don't know that there's any situation better than what he has in Denver. To me, it just doesn't make sense. I feel like for him, it's almost like a lateral move or maybe even a demotion in a move if the team that picks him up isn't better than what the Denver Nuggets were.
Yeah, and we'll see ultimately where he goes. But for now, we know he is not going to be going back to Denver, at least at this time. Jay, we'll go over now to the NHL. We know the Stanley Cup playoffs are ongoing. The finals are happening. We'll talk about that. We'll also just briefly mention the MVP award winner. We'll talk about that after the game, though. But Jay, what a matchup last night. And as good as the NBA finals have been, I think the NHL playoffs have been even better in terms of the Stanley Cup. This is I think the second overtime game these two have had with the Panthers and Oilers, and it's now tied up, Jay, 2-2. They're going into Game 5 on Saturday, so tomorrow night. But just a quick recap of last night, Jay. Florida got off to a very hot start, 3-0 in the first period. They ended up pulling their goalie, Skinner, in the Edmonton game. But Jay, credit to Edmonton, man. They fought back. They scored 3 right back in the second period. They each tied it 1-1 in the third. So Jay went to overtime. And Draisaitl got the game-winning goal once again. He's had, I think this was like his 7th or something, like game-winning goal, or he's just been red hot right now. And I mean, that's just a great series. Now going to Game 5. But I just want to get your thoughts, though, on the Edmonton and Florida series.
Yeah, in all honesty, man, I knew this series was going to be good. I felt like with the way Carolina handled, with the way Florida handled Carolina, and the way in which, honestly, Edmond handled a very good Dallas Stars team that took out Winnipeg, which I really thought Winnipeg was one of the harder teams to beat. But, it turns out really Edmonton is just playing at a different level, even more so than what Winnipeg is. And so it's not like Dallas, got an easy, or it's not like Winnipeg, or not Winnipeg. It's not like Edmonton got a pushover team. Dallas was a very credible team that they went, and I saw them play, and I said, you know what? They have incredible offense. They really know how to push the puck up the ice and keep the puck on the other side of the red line. And I really like the way they do their defense and things of that nature. Skinner was a very unproven type of not rookie, but just inexperienced, a little bit less inexperienced than a Bobrovsky, or a little bit more less experienced than an Ottinger in terms of goal plays. So, I think them pulling Ottinger out in that first period, I know he gave up 3 goals, but some of that was on the defense, not really helping Skinner out as well. So, I mean, even though I know he gave up the 3 goals, I don't think that was necessarily all on Skinner. But at the end of the day, the coach felt it was time for a move, and ultimately Edmonton did get the win, and they did tie up the series at 2 apiece. But I'm curious to see where they go from here in terms of game 5, which I believe is back in Edmonton, if I'm not mistaken.
Let me do a quick search here. Let's see. Yeah, because I know they played in Florida last night, so I believe they're heading back on the. Yeah, they're going back to Edmonton, Jay. They're at the 1-1 now. So it goes Edmonton, then back to Florida, then if needed on Game 7, back in Edmonton. So we will see. And also, as I'm sure you saw, anyone who followed the game or heard the recap saw, the big kind of headline out of that, the big history in a way that was made, Jay. The Oilers are the first road team to rally from a 3-goal deficit and win a finals game since the Montreal Canadiens did over 100 years ago, back in 1919. It's only the 6th time in NHL history that team has come back down from 3 to win a final game. So, I mean, just shows the heart of that team. And, I mean, Jay, that could very easily, I think, propel them to win it all. I mean, this is a team also who, let's not forget, this is a rematch from last year. In which, obviously Florida lost. Now they're hoping to repeat against the same team, which is incredibly rare in any sport that you have the exact 2 same teams going at it. And if you win a game like that, man, I mean, it's hard to say what game can't we win. You know what I mean? That's just showing.
I agree.
And credit to the coaching staff. Credit to the coaching staff for keeping the guys in it, and obviously for their play on the ice, and for having just a classic game overall. But, Jay, we're going to go ahead and talk about the winner of the Bove Hart Investment Trophy. And we're going to Winnipeg. We're going to Connor Hellebuck. He is the winner of the league's adjacent MVP trophy and obviously the league's best goalie. He's the first goalie to win this one, Jay, since Carey Price did 10 years ago, back in 2015. It always kind of makes me double look whenever I see him, like, oh, a goalie won an award. Like the MVP award, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, I mean, like I said, they're the last line of defense. And honestly, we know Winnipeg season didn't end, with them hoisting a championship or anything along those lines. But obviously still very good season, 56, 22-4. And as for Connor Hellebuck, the winner, I mean, he was just fantastic, right? He got 31 of 32 first-place votes from the GMs. I mean, so he did very good there. He had 8 shutouts, right? Most by any league qualified goalies this year. Lowest goals against with just 2. The second best save percentage also. He's also went on an 8-game winning streak and 11-point game point streak as well. So, I mean, he was just, red hot for the most part. It didn't work out great in the playoffs, but they don't count the playoffs into the MVP awards. That's all counted at the regular season. But it's always nice to see here, and then we're going to add Big Glenn in here in a moment. I know he will talk about his Pacers, so we'll circle back to that in a minute. Glenn, just hold on. But Jay, let's get your thoughts here though on Connor Hellebuck winning the Hart Trophy as well as the Vezina Trophy there in the NHL.
Yeah, I was just reading where it said he won the Vicenza Trophy as the NHL's top goaltender. The third time he has earned that distinction since the 2020 and I think 2024. And in doing so, he became the first goalie to win the Hart and Vezina trophies in the same year since Price. So, we're seeing some history there in this guy. So, yeah, congratulations to him. He's a hell of a goalie. I saw him play when Dallas went up against him, and I thought he did a really good job doing it. So yeah, man, I don't follow a lot of hockey, but I do know in hockey to get these kinds of awards, it just seems like it's a harder thing to do because of the way the game is played and things like that in terms of a goalie and shots on goal and things like that. I know obviously I know firsthand how important a goalie is. I think we saw that last night when Skinner gave up 3 in the first round. He gets pulled and they put it
and they still win.
That's a hard job, Logan. And to be able to do all those things, with the glove and the stick and the feet and trying to keep the puck from going in and then the speed in which it happens, it's impressive. And it's impressive that he got it many times, and the fact that he got both awards in hockey, it's incredible.
Yeah, all right, we're going to circle back here because our resident Pacers super fan, Big Glenn, has joined the chat here. So we're going to briefly get his thoughts here on the game tonight. And Glenn, welcome to the show. Hope you're having a good Friday. And let's just talk about tonight. Let's just do a preview. In this game here, Game 4, it's going to be on the home court. You are not going to this one, correct? Your free ticket with Miles Turner and the fan club, that's already been used, right? You're not sneaking back in.
I would.
Are you going to be putting the traffic going on or something?
So here's the thing: we get a ticket for each game. So I get one
for each game. Oh, I thought it was just a one-time deal.
I thought it was a one-time deal as well, and I thought they was gonna move us, but no, they kept us in the same spot. They moved us down to the end of the section. So.
Hey Jay, whenever you hear anything on ESPN or whatever, or ABC or NBC saying, "Hey man, who cares about the small market teams?" You don't see anyone else doing this. I've never heard of a team giving out free tickets to the fan club, to the fan section. Have you?
That's old Miles Turner though doing that, and but no, have I ever seen this? No, I have never seen this. So congratulations to the Pacers.
Especially the whole section.
Do what?
Hey Glenn, what's your gameplay when you go down there? I know the game's at 8:30 Eastern. So what's kind of your pregame? Let's get into the mind of a fan here before we talk about you talk about the game.
So usually it's usually pretty straightforward. Sometimes if I know the weather's gonna be nice, I'll go down early like I did the other night. But tonight it's gonna be a little bit with a chance of rain, so I'm not going down till the doors open. So. Which will be about 7 o'clock Eastern, and the game starts at 8:30. And most game days, I usually just chill out and keep to myself for the most part. But I felt like it was only right for me to hop on here today. So,
of course, yeah, we appreciate that. And,
see, there you go, right there, Glenn. There you go, right there. I'm very superstitious, and the fact
I am too.
The fact that you're breaking protocol. Was that really the best for you?
Well, Glenn, the real question though is, are you bringing the title belt?
I unfortunately won't be tonight because it's gonna be raining. So
I understand, Jay. You don't want to mess it up. Look, he's our reigning, defending, back-to-back champion. But enjoy it while you can, because football season's come back around, and that title's leaving the home there in Indiana and coming to anywhere else with our
just
anyone else at this point.
Logan, I think Glenn messed up. I think he shifted the balance of the way it was supposed to be.
If the Pacers lose tonight, and I'm saying we know why. It's the Glenn curse on this team. I'm just saying, buddy.
Glenn, you choked. You weren't supposed to.
So here's the thing: we're gonna win tonight, and we're not gonna have to worry about any of that shit.
How much you think? Big words coming out from Big Glenn. I gotta tell you though, Glenn, honestly, last night we were talking about this, Gonzo and me, and we were talking about this yesterday, and I know you were a part of it. I felt like you guys came out in Game 3 and really, you came out aggressive. You played the full 48 minutes. You really didn't get behind, and I think that really kind of put OKC on their heels. I think you saw in the fourth quarter where it kind of looked like
Shea was wore out.
OKC looked a little bit tired. SGA was really kind of punched over at the free throw line a lot, and I think that really hurt them. So I got to imagine that's going to be the same blueprint you guys are going to go into tonight. And I got to imagine there's going to be a lot of pressure on SGA and company to get this win, because if they don't get this win tonight, a lot of people, including Stephen A, has even said that if they don't get that win tonight, they're not going to get the series.
Nope, absolutely not. And see, here's the thing that I noticed. Oklahoma City is they got wore out at the end of the game on game 3, and it goes back to what I mentioned to you. I either mentioned it to you guys here on the channel, or said it to you guys outside the in the group chat that I wasn't too worried about losing game 2, because I knew Rick saw something, and there's a reason why he took his guys out 3 minutes ago when we were down 15. He has seen something, and he is going to exploit it. And I think that we saw that in game 3, and if it's going to be the same result tonight, and I think that will be, and should be, it'll be another repeat of Wednesday night.
All right, yeah, and obviously we'll see it again. It's off here in a little bit over 5 hours. So, like I said, Glenn, we know we will get your pregame nap in and your pub sub. So we'll see how it goes.
I took a gun before I went to sleep last night, so I'm ready to go.
Melatonin, correct?
Hey.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, we'll call that melatonin.
Okay, yeah.
Real quick, so Joe chimes in. Did Glenn take Frankie's job? No, Glenn, Frankie got a job, so he works during the daytime now. So he's making some money. And then he also goes on to say Indiana's going down tonight, Glenn. He don't give a damn. Matter of fact, Joe said, and I'm speaking for Joe right now, the fact that you came on the show and broke your routine protocol for playoffs, you're screwed.
Absolutely not. You know why? I keep the universe on a swivel, man, and I change things up just for the hell of it.
All right.
You never know which way I'm going.
Nah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes all in all. But all right, let's shift to a little bit more serious topic. We talked about some basketball, talk about some hockey. We're going to go over to the NFL now. There's not a whole lot going on. There's a lot of off-season chatter. But now we're seeing reports, right? These are just reports that Antonio Brown, ex-wide receiver, he is being sought on attempted murder charge. That's according to ESPN headlines here. That is based off of a shooting that Brown was allegedly, keep that in mind, allegedly involved in during a celebrity boxing event back in Miami last month. I mean, like I said, that's not a good look. Obviously, you don't want that. And just kind of one of the more serious headlines we've seen out of the league here in a minute. But Jay, let's just go and get your thoughts on this, man. Obviously, like I said, these are all just allegations at this moment. There's nothing proven. But just the headline itself is kind of eye-opening.
Yeah, a couple of things come to mind. Like you said, shots were fired. We know that specifically. We know that for a fact that there were, in fact, gunshots that were fired. Antonio Brown, we know through accounts, through witnesses and accounts. Matter of fact, he even said it himself that there were people that were attacking him. He felt that they were going after his jewelry and things of that nature. So we already know what we do know factually is that Antonio Brown was in a physical altercation at that boxing match. What we don't know for a fact is if the shots that were fired, which we know that is a fact, came from him or not. I will tell you, Logan, this is where the reputation comes into play sometimes, especially in court systems and things like that. When you have a certain type of reputation, people tend to look at, and you're kind of in these things, it tends to look favorably upon that. And that's where I think it could come back to hurt Antonio Brown. You know, there's all these antics that he's done. This could be where it comes back to hurt him. For some reason, and I don't know how, but there are a few players in the league that trouble just seems to find them. You know, Pac-Man Jones is another one that just came up in the media that's having issues, legally. and the trouble always seems to find him. And I just think Antonio Brown is just one of those kind of guys where he is just always in something, whether he meant for it to happen or not, whether it happened or didn't happen. It just seems always to have his name always in the mix on these things. And it just, I just wonder for that poor man, when is it ever just going to stop and he finds peace? But I think a lot of this is just brought on by him, Logan and Glenn.
Yeah, Glenn, let's get your thoughts on these allegations that just came out today involving Antonio Brown.
Well, considering Antonio Brown's checkered past, because he's had issues running his here and there throughout his professional career, even with him being retired at this point. I'm unfortunately not surprised that we're hearing about this, but I would hope, like, to go back on what Jay said, hopefully he can find some peace to where he doesn't have to worry about messing with this stuff anymore.
Yeah, and obviously we'll follow this as it more information becomes available to us. Go ahead.
I just want to put this out just for what is actually being reported. So according to the warrant that was issued for him, witnesses told police officers that Brown was the shooter, and 2 shell casings were found at the scene. Brown was unarmed. It's very important to put that out there. Brown was unarmed at the time he was detained. But the man he allegedly punched during the altercation told police that Brown began to run toward him with a firearm after the fight had already been broken up and shot at him twice. So, again, these are just allegations right now, but there are people out there, including the person he shot at, that says specifically that he had a gun and he was shooting. So there are witnesses, and it's going to be interesting to see how Antonio Brown's defense team takes this on. But it just seems to me, Logan, that trouble just always seems to find this young man.
Yeah, he needs to find O.J. Simpson's lawyer.
Oh, Charlie Cochran. Yeah.
Oh, Johnny Cochran.
I think Johnny's part of the Supreme Court now, isn't he?
I think he was just in a case not too recently, wasn't he? It was some high involved case. I forget what it was.
I know he's still out there doing it. So, hey, Antonio, I know you still got to to the bank. You may want to hire Johnny.
Let me just put this footnote in here. We must be thinking of someone else. Johnny Cochran died in 2005, so we're thinking of some other Cochran. It's got to be right.
Oh, well then, yeah, you're definitely not going to get that Johnny Cochran.
Yeah, definitely ain't Johnny Cochran. I know that much. So it's going to be someone else. But
rest in peace, Johnny. Rest in peace.
Yes, rest in peace, Johnny. We got football, right? And I actually just came across this one. Glenn, it's kind of fitting. You're our Glenn, you are a Colts fan, so I just want to bring this up here. And I did see that Jim Irsay, the late Jim Irsay, he will join the Colts Ring of Honor during their season opener. As we know, he passed away earlier in the year.
And he would have been 66 today, by the way, which is why I also say that the Pacers will win tonight. Because the last thing he tweeted was "Go Pacers," and that was the day of the game 1 of the East Finals.
Yep, and he passed away back on May 21st, so a couple of weeks ago at this point. And it's a fitting tribute, right? And we saw that I believe it's his daughters who are going to be the ones taking over the team. Yep. So keeping it in the family, but nice tribute, obviously, to just kind of put him up there and immortalize him in there in Luke's soil.
Is it since we're talking about Jim Irsay's daughters, Glenn? I know you're the resident Colts person here. I've seen stuff out there on the internet. I don't know if it's true or if it's false or whatever, but I saw where is one of the daughters wanting to put on a headset and have a call sheet on the sideline. Is that true or is that just made up stuff?
She wasn't calling plays, but she was had a chart or something of that nature. But that's
she's looking at plays at least.
Yeah,
I think it's more just like an understanding.
Almost
she's going to have a very hands-on approach to this team.
Oh yeah. Carly Ursay Gordon, yeah, she definitely does. Kaylin Jackson, which was the one that's not blonde, but
brunette.
The brunette, the one that hasn't had a headset on.
Right.
She is more like the community engagement side of things, like kicking the stigma and stuff like that. She'll be taking a huge part in those, and she's like right under Carly Ursay Gordon, and the daughter, I forget her name. Her last name is Foyt, which is blonde. She is like third in line. So
Okay.
All right.
got Carly Ursay
Yeah.
Gordon, the owner and main chick, then Caitlin, then her.
Okay. Interesting.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting chain of command.
Yeah, but yeah, I just wanted to bring that one up, and you know, if it was announced a little bit earlier today. Jay, we're going to you now, our resident Cowboys fan. Dak Prescott is saying some stuff, and I know you have some opinions. He says he wants a Super Bowl title and legacy be damned. Jay's going to go into his 10th year already as Cowboys quarterback. Has it been that long already?
Yeah, it's been a hot minute, believe it or not.
Well, what are your thoughts? I mean,
Yeah.
just, you know, he says, I'm going all in for the Super Bowl, which isn't everyone, though. You know what I mean? I mean, you can put any back here.
Everybody plays. Everybody starts the season at 0-0. Then they play the games. You know, so.
Well, and obviously Gonzo, not Gonzo, excuse me, Big Glenn is on here, and Big Glenn is a Cowboys fan and stuff like that. So, yeah, here's my thing. You know, so Dak comes out and says, "Yeah, I want to win a championship," quote to quote. Prescott goes on to say that the legacy, the things, whatever comes after I finish playing, all will take care of itself. I want to win a championship. Be damned if it's not just my legacy. Well, you know, everybody wants to win a damn championship. What are you going to do about it, Killer? What you going to do about it? Everybody wants to say that crap. Why are you giving me these blanket statements? What do you specifically are going to do this? Are you going to become a more of an effective leader? Are you going to find ways to get this offense more engaged? What exactly are you talking about, Dak? Because you're just throwing out some generic ass statements. I need to see action. I need to see you on a field for a full season and not just here and there with, I guess it'll be Milton now as our backup quarterback coming in and playing spot games because you got a sore boo-boo. You got to, I don't know what you're going to do. I mean, you know, we've taken a back seat to the Eagles. We've taken a back seat to the Commanders. And it really, and I got to imagine if you're a real Cowboys, if you're really bought into this team, Dak, that you're going to take this very pissed off like, and you should be wanting to get back to first. I don't know, man. I have a hard time taking him seriously. I hope he's done a lot in the conditioning world. I hope he's really got his game and his body is in shape. And I hope he can control the turnovers, and I hope he can, you know, make better decisions on the field. I hope he can see the defense a little bit better, call correct audibles. I mean, there's a lot that I need to see out of Dak Prescott, you know, especially been in the league for 10 years. Glenn, what are you thinking?
He's saying these things, but I feel like Dak's window is already passed as like potentially winning the Super Bowl with the Cowboys. Those first few years that I believe we got beat by Green Bay and Dallas, then the first time we played San Fran and Dallas in the playoffs, those were our best chances to win the Super Bowl. Even though it may be far-fetched to others, but I feel like those two teams right there had the best shot at it. But unfortunately, Dak doesn't have it.
And Joe coming in here saying, Dak saying, I want to win a Super Bowl is like an alcoholic saying, I'm going to stop drinking. Just, I mean, Jay, we hear this.
Joe knows. Joe knows.
He said, no,
I will tell you, I am happy that the Cowboys actually drafted, you know, a pretty good offensive guard in the draft. Now, what kind of sucks about that was in his freshman year, the one guy, he allowed 3 sacks. The 3 sacks I think he gave up to was to Carter, who now was selected in the draft by the New York Giants. So that means that Booker is going to continue to see Carter even at the pro level, and I hope that he can contain Carter when we do play the Giants. But you know, it's good to see them that we, you know, and we also got that other defensive end that's supposed to be kind of Micah Parsons attributes are supposed to be in him. So it should be interesting to see him line up opposite of Micah Parsons. We still have Fowler that we picked back up from the Washington Commanders. We're supposed to get Overshawn back. I think Trey Diggs is supposed to be back. Bland is supposed to be back in our secondary. We obviously picked up George Pickens, and we have a good tight end The running game, I think, is still lackluster to me. We got Jaden Blue in the draft out of Texas, but maybe he'll show up in camp and do something. But right now we got Williams and Sanders, and they both average about 3.7 yards a carry. Neither one of them are really truly just blowing it up off the field. So Cowboys got some questions. We got some questions. Glenn, we got questions, man. And especially even at the coaching level, we got questions.
It's one of them. Can the Cowboys win a Super Bowl? Yeah.
I mean, we've said that how many years now? Jay, it's been a while.
Exactly. Yeah.
Been a while. I mean,
That's
I can't say much either.
They have division given what we've got.
Yeah. Hey, and
the Raiders
Glenn,
have an AFC. I was going to say the Raiders have an AFC championship more recent than the Cowboys. So yeah.
Oh boy, I tell you what.
Yeah.
He threw that one in there. I didn't say nothing. But,
I know he's a Raiders fan, so I had to mention it.
Hey, and Glenn,
you know what though, man? I think Glenn is saying that because you know what? We understand where we are. And sometimes that's how you know you truly accept where you are. When the stinginess of comments and stuff doesn't bother you anymore, I think you have just accepted it.
You just accepted it.
Yeah, but at least until Jerry's gone, so.
And that's if we don't get Steven that comes up behind him. And hopefully if we do get Steven that comes up behind him, maybe Steven will actually hire a GM and the coach and all the things that they're supposed to do. We'll see.
We will see.
I'm not funny.
Glenn, I saw this on Twitter, and I didn't know if you'd seen this yet. You are our resident Fever fan.
Kate is back.
Well, yes, that, but they, in addition to that, they have waived Ari McDonald, who has averaged 11 points, 3 assists, and 2 steals in 3 games coming off the bench. How does that not keep you on the roster? Is my question. If you do that, granted, it's a small sample size, but still, how does that not keep you on the roster?
So here's the thing. I have a big issue with the way some of the WNBA roster rules are, and this is one that I absolutely hate because I feel like the Fever could cut somebody on the end of the bench and keep her, but I don't make those decisions, unfortunately. So I wish we could keep Ari, honestly. What's up, Frankie?
Red Sox suck. Go Yankees.
Yeah, fuck the ball. Yeah, fuck Boston. But yeah, man. I hate the WNBA. I hope they change this when they do the new CBA. I think it's this coming year or the following year. So, Ari needs to be on a roster. Is what I'm trying to say.
Like I said, she'll get picked up. Obviously, I don't know where, but she'll get picked up. So we will see.
If it was me, I'd cut one of the rookies that we drafted, honestly. I know it sounds pretty shitty, but
you know what? I would tell you this. I know Angel Reese and everybody like that is up, and maybe even Brittany Griner with the comments that she made about Caitlin Clark in the game. And I'm not going to say what they are, but I think we all know what they were. Here's the thing, man. You got to know that Caitlin Clark is the face of the WNBA. And like Logan said, the fact that she's been hurt, hasn't been on the court, and the ratings have dropped, I think that just says everything you need to know about her effect and who the true face of the WNBA is.
They basically falling off a cliff.
Yeah. I think we all just know who the real face of the WNBA is.
That's easy to say. When you're losing 30-40% of your viewership, that's telling. That's very telling. Also glad to see you again, Frank. It's been too long. Well, guys, any final thoughts here? We can go ahead and wrap up the show. Anything else you wanna bring up before we end it today?
Yes. Pacers. By the end of tonight, we're gonna be going back to Oklahoma, up 3-1.
All right. Well, prediction there. Jay, any final thoughts here?
No, I think that was pretty much. I know we want to talk Skags, but I think we agreed to wait until Monday. Just know that. So I'm going to put a little teaser out there. Monday, we will be talking about Miley and his effect on Skaggs' passing and things like that. So we'll be talking about that on Monday when Gonzo and Tony are able to partake in that conversation. Just wanted to put that out there. That's something to look that's down the road.
All right. Yep. And Frankie, I saw this, and I don't know if you guys brought it up earlier in the week, but since he did chime in, I feel like it's all appropriate. The Patriots are going to unveil a statue of Tom Brady outside the stadium before August 8th, and it will Also, yesterday was known as Tom Brady Day. So there you go, Frankie. Hope you enjoy. Hope you enjoy out there.
Oh, I do have one thing to say. Just one super thing.
Oh,
I just thought about this because Joe's on. Hey, Joe, don't take off just yet. Hey, Joe. Hey, Joe. Where the Astros at, baby? Where the Astros at? That's right, baby. We in first place, 4.5 games up on the Mariners. Joe, what's up? Go Stros.
That's a good way to put us into the weekend, I feel. Guys, take it easy. Enjoy your weekend. If you're going out, please stay safe. And like I said, check us out Monday, 2 o'clock Eastern, for another edition of the afternoon show. For Jay McLovin, for Big Blend, and of course for Frankie coming in for about half a second. I've been your host and producer. And also, one last thing from Joe saying, we are back. He said, we are back. And Joe, we hope to see you once again on Monday. Tell the guys, take it easy on ESEN.